Speaking of repurposing, I have posted that exact word for word post months ago, and I don't think anyone noticed. So
I did.
that's a win there, and both times it performed very well.
Hello, everybody, and happy Thursday from all of us here on the Walkthrough Podcast, presented by BAM, your go-to marketing and branding podcast. My name is Dan O'Neill, team leader here in New York and Florida, and joining me on today's show, wearing a Grimace hat because of a TikTok trend, is Mr. Eric, the Broke Agent Simon, Miss Marie Lee from Tennessee, and Miss Basil Hayden on the rocks, Miss Haley Ingram with Coffee and Contracts. Today we're talking Instagram adding yet another, no, this is not last week's episode or the week prior, another new feature featuring story comments. Eric is going to be breaking down best practices and more, how to get the most out of your posts, content that converts, and a controversial reel from a Florida agent that went viral. Eric spilled it virtual. Thank God I'm quick on my feet. Make sure to like below, comment, and let's get to it. Mr. Grimace, Eric.
Yes,
How are
it's
you?
good to have you back after your 1 week suspension in the Tom Ferry conference, and it's really good to have Marie Lee from Tennessee, and of course Mrs. Basil Hayden's here joining us. That is
Not
fantastic. That's her new
accurate at
nickname.
all.
What do you mean not accurate? Okay, what, Jaeger bombs? I don't know, whatever.
Mrs. Yeager. Here we go. All right, so this is interesting, Dan. Instagram has added another feature, and let's see if it has hit your phones yet. They have added story comments to encourage interaction. So they're rolling out another way to encourage comments, this time via comments on stories, which are then visible to all who view that story comment. So story comments are displayed along the bottom of the frame, above the function controls and viewer details, so they're not that intrusive, and it could add another way to get more people talking about stories updates with prompts, the function essentially as comment highlights displayed on the main screen. So Instagram has been trying to come up with new ways to get people engaging in the app as more and more users are switching to DMs for discussion and sharing. And Instagram CEO Adam Mosseri always mentions that more people are consuming content just on Instagram stories and not posting. Like younger generations, apparently they changed that notes feature, where it's like now asking you to prompt. They change it 10 plus times a day, almost like how we used to do with Facebook statuses. So younger generations, Gen Z, what's below Gen Z? Is it Alpha?
Really?
Gen Alpha, they're all doing Instagram stories. So I don't know if you guys have seen this feature yet. Have you been allowed to add comments yet to Instagram stories?
Yeah, I
Anyone?
have it on mine.
Yeah.
Have you done it yet? Is it effective? Do you see any plus or minus to doing this?
I haven't done it yet. I've seen like one person use it, and it was them posting this story and then commenting on it and going, "Whoa, we can comment on these now."
Right.
So I don't know. I haven't seen anyone using it strategically yet.
Okay. Well, we'll keep you guys posted on this. This isn't that interesting of a story. We just wanted to let you know that there are Instagram story updates. But what is interesting, what, you just got it?
No, so I've had it, but I didn't click on it yet. So I just clicked on it and said, leave a comment and show friends some love. You can now comment on stories. Comments are visible to anyone who views the story. So if I were to now comment on this or somebody else were to, I mean, what happens if like a crazy ex-girlfriend or something comments on this? Like now anybody can see that? That's kind of insane, no?
Well, she can comment on your post too. It's just like any
And I can
any
tweet.
other comment.
Well,
But it
maybe
is
it's another way.
out that everyone can see what you're about to comment, and that people don't think it's just a private comment.
Yeah.
Right. Well, maybe it's another way to pick up followers too if you leave comments on stories, since people are consuming more content in the stories, just like how we used to do the $1.80 strategy where we leave comments on people's posts, right, Marie?
Shout out to Gary Vee.
All I know is I didn't realize this came from Facebook, right? And I was watching somebody's story on Facebook and I left a completely unhinged comment on their story. And it wasn't until like a few stories later I saw other people's comments on their stories and I was like, oh my gosh, that was public. I just completely and like my friends and family follow this person. It was a completely uncensored and very questionable comment. So just know.
Well, from you?
I wish
so I yeah, guys, it's public. Don't embarrass yourself like I did.
You've been hanging out on the show too much.
Exactly. Careful with the comments on stories. I always, every time Brooks Landry posts a story, I immediately DM him saying, delete this, to just try to get in his head. So every time he posts a story, I say, delete this immediately. You should probably consider deleting
Oh
this.
god.
So I'm just going to start leaving that comment on people's stories. It really gets in their head. All
That's
right.
good.
That's Instagram stories. How about this, Dan, for topic number 2? This is why we're all here today. How to get the most out of your post. So whether you have a new listing you want to announce, maybe you're switching brokerages or something, or you have a piece of content that you worked really hard on, some sort of skit, housing market update, something that you really need to get engagement on. How do you get the most out of that post? What do you do to either prep the algorithm, or what do you do post to get more engagement? Marie Lee, I will start with you.
Oh gosh. Well, I don't know if I'm really good at priming things. I think my take on this is like, how am I repurposing it? Which I know is not what you were just talking about, but I am going to talk about most of the post as the post itself. How am I going to get the most uses out of it? And I'm thinking about listing videos. So lately, I've had several listings and getting videos for that, paying a lot of money into it. And it's like, all right, I don't want to just post this one time. I need to get the most out of this, and I'm going to find multiple ways to post about it. Especially since things are sitting in our market for a little bit longer, I feel like I need to do some repeated exposure. So if I have gone ahead and just done one listing video, then I find myself doing additional follow-up posts where I'm taking little snippets from that clip to either talk about different features. Like, we did a price improvement on one of our properties, and I took a portion of that, but I took a portion of that reel, ended up making a whole separate reel about it where it had a visual hook. I dropped the phone and then it went right into the price improvement announcement, but it was like a 5-second clip instead of the full 90-second home tour. So I'm trying to find ways where I'm taking the same content that I've already done and trying to find ways to either use content for talking head videos or carousel posts. Lately, I've been doing the carousel posts with like the text on the screen in Instagram stories that have been doing really well. And a lot of that content's coming from past content. So for me, most out of the post is mostly like repurposing content. And I'm sure you guys are going to come up with a whole bunch of other different engagement strategies. So
No, that was great. Anytime you have something that you need to get more length out of, repurpose it, right? You have a reel that performed well, turn that into a carousel. You have a carousel that performed well, turn that into a reel. Miss Hayden's, Miss Bombs. What do you do to get the most out of your posts? If you got a big, new feature on coffee and contracts, or you're doing a post to get more emails, what do you prep the algorithm? Do you juice it, or you just launch it and then go have a bagel, Hayden's?
I did not order that, by the way.
Of course not.
But when I want to get the most out of a post, which by the way, I love that. I love the rhyme. I think that should be maybe a recurring theme. But what I do is I'll post a story before the post talking about what I'm about to post. So like a story of me talking, or a story of like my computer if I'm working on a carousel post. And I'll just tell people what I'm working on and like kind of hype them up, maybe ask a question with like a poll sticker or something. And then on the actual post, I'll include a call to action promoting a freebie through like mini chat to try to get more comments. And I feel like that always results in the post doing better when people are commenting on it. And then I also share, if I really want to post to perform well, I don't always do this, but share it on stories and also in our channel. And maybe not just sharing it itself, but sharing it with something kind of talking more about it or expanding on why they should go into that post.
Smart. Here's a little tip for you, Haley. If you
Mm.
share your Instagram post into your broadcast channel, sometimes
Mhm.
it just shows up as the link when it goes into people's DMs. Most people aren't going to open that, right? They're going to be like, this person just sent me a link. So right after you share the Instagram post in your broadcast channel, talk about it. Say,
Mhm.
hey, make sure you watch this above,
Yeah.
because I give details on how to get the most out of your post. How about that? How
Mhm.
meta would that be?
That'd be
Pretty
great.
smart there. So anytime you share a link in your broadcast channel, right after that link, talk about it a little bit and tell people why they should click on it.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that.
Dan-
That's genius.
Danny, donuts. How do you get the most out of your posts? You just had an Instagram story that's going absolutely wild right now. I feel like your stories have been kind of your bread and butter.
Yeah, I mean, I just haven't posted, so I can't really give you guys anything on what's working in regards to my own page. Recently, I had a friend visiting, and I took over their Instagram. They're an agent in LA, and I kind of like just they're like, "Hey, can you help me post this?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." I found myself in like an hour-long deep dive. Like I thought it was just like totally normal, like to me, like it's just another day posting, and like primed it. I did all of the things, and she looked at me, and she's like, what did you just do? Like for 2 hours with my phone. So basically what I did was, and my strategy is I go through my DMs, or I told her to go through her DMs. She either responded back to everybody or at least even just gave like a heart or some sort of reaction. Then went up to the top and for like 20 minutes, either liked people's stories or responded to theirs as well. That's going to get the engines going, vroom, vroom, right? It's going to get the algorithm juicing. From there, I then had her add a note. She then added a note up top. And then on stories, it was a picture of herself with music, hashtags, put to the side, location, trending music, a poll. So that way people are going to say yes or yes anyway. I did this times two. They're going to say yes or yes anyway. And even if they don't, right, still going to juice the algorithm. Then I went to her other page because she has a personal page, which I already gave her the lesson not to have, and did the same thing on there. So I did it 2 times on 2 different pages for the same post. And then I called Eric and I said, hey, can you comment on this? And that was my hack. So did great.
There are some actually really good strategies in there, Dan, that you mentioned.
Oh.
Adding the note. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I forgot it. I also went in and then added a note on the post, on the reel from her account, from my account. So then I did a little hack there. Then I went into our broadcast channel. I then did share it. And then I engaged in the DMs right after I posted it. I used hashtags. I tagged people. And in the story, I was tagging all of the hyper-local areas in which the listing is from. And I tagged random people like houses or interior design and just blew it up.
Wow.
Holy crap. Did you also commission a Vietnamese click farm to comment on this post and spend, $10,000 to get 10,000 likes possibly? But those are good strategies. Let me break it down in a simplistic form for you. So what Dan was talking about, juicing the algorithm, very important. 10 minutes before your post, you should spend time in DMs. DMs are the most powerful form of communication. If I DM with Marie Lee from Tennessee, guess what? Marie Lee from Tennessee's content pops up immediately on my page. So DM with people for 10 minutes, go in stories for 10 minutes, responding to people. The second you post something, start responding to comments right away. Maybe respond to comments, Haley, with a question, possibly. Then get them to comment again. You're trading 1 comment for 3 now. Genius little strategy. And then how about this? Haley likes to prep the post by announcing she's going to do it on her stories before. I would say no. Yeah, no. Little debate here. I would say that is a disastrous move. What I would do, I would clear my stories for 24 hours. I wouldn't touch my Instagram stories. I wouldn't touch my feed. I wouldn't go even near Instagram. I would keep my phone locked in a safe in the other room with a code guarded by.
What is this post that you're posting?
I would keep it away from me, right?
We're on the walkthrough today. We're not
listen. Before the 10 minutes before I start juicing, phone is completely locked up. And then I would take it out of the safe. And then what I would do is I would post that Instagram reel with a very engaging caption. And then on my Instagram stories, I would post a little preview saying, you're going to want to look at what's happening next on create mode. And then I would share the story. So that way the story is completely refreshed. It's in people's heads. I'm hitting them in the story. I throw it in the broadcast channel and I'm responding to comments. That's the move right there.
Wow.
That's how you get the most out of your post.
They call that a full onslaught.
So you knew the answer the whole time. You just wanted to tell us we were wrong.
Yeah, let's see what these fools have to say, and then I will comment. No, Haley, you're actually right about prepping your posts on Instagram stories, because sometimes if you are Mr. Beast or you're Ken Pozek or you have a big video, showing people the prep work that goes into something. I'm not just talking about your standard listing video, but a YouTube video or something that actually takes a lot of time. Maybe it's a skit you've worked on for 3 weeks. Showing the behind the scenes, that will fire people up. But I just wouldn't do it the day of. That's all I would do. Keep the phone.
I think it's because a lot of times I work on like something and I'm asking people like, I don't know. I'm like working on a post and I'm asking them for like feedback or just trying to like get them involved in the process. So it's a strategy,
Yeah, it's a smart strategy. All right, that's how to get the most out of your post. Danny Deals, going into content that converts. We have 2 of the best content creators on Instagram. 3, 4, I would say, including me and you.
Who are the two?
Dang.
Haley and Marie Lee from Tennessee,
Yeah,
Miss
that's what
Havens.
I thought in my head,
Okay.
100%.
Move me to Tennessee.
Yes.
You posted something recently. I don't know if it was an open house video or a listing video, but Haley, if we could pull this up, I think this is one of your best pieces of content recently.
Oh, I could have focused on the person today who was driving by our open house who said that our listing was overpriced. She asked me how much this home cost. I said $699,000. It's 5 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, 3,200 square feet on a large lot, one of the largest floor plans in the neighborhood. She said, that's too expensive. You are way overpriced. I could have focused on that, or I could think about how much of a deal this is. So this new construction home, other side of the street, 4 bedrooms, 2,700 square feet. This home is priced in the 700s. So you could get way less home, pay way more money with a new construction option, or you could get over 500 square feet more for a lesser price. I could focus on how good of a deal that is. And that's what I'm going to focus on today.
So Marie, this post got incredible engagement, lots of shares, kind of some anger in the comments too, if I'm not mistaken, right? So was there no anger?
There were, but a lot of people have deleted their comments because I wouldn't say I got passive about it, but when people tend to like leave me hate on my posts, I tend to respond back in a way that's like somewhat positive and constructive. I'm like, hey, actually, we can learn from this. Like, I don't know, my old school teacher self's coming out. But then they've gone back and deleted a lot of those. I was pinning them. That was maybe a little passive aggressive. I was pinning them so they'd pop up to the top and drive some more comments. But let me preface this. This story it truly did happen, and the woman was way more vindictive than what I led on to be. I know we're talking about juicing stories and like stories working really well for people, and kind of like showing the behind the scenes. This woman, when she drove up to me and was asking me what the price of the home was, she was telling me that's the reason why this home isn't going to sell. You're never going to sell it for this price. Like, she was just going ham. Anyway, I had to condense it down for this particular video. And I was just thinking the whole time, like, no, this is actually a really, really good deal for this home in comparison to the neighborhood. So, like, how can I show that? And while I'm inside the open house, I'm looking at the activity of what's going on in the neighborhood and have realized, like, no, this new construction home right across the street is going for way more money. It's way smaller. And, why would you go for that option when you could have an option like this? So really just trying to give a comparison of value and what you could get for your money's worth. Like, we are priced to sell. The comments were saying this is overpriced. Like, this is an expensive home. People can't afford it. And that's not what this post was about. The post wasn't about affordability. Like, we can all agree that housing prices are pretty significant, but this post was about, in comparison to the other homes in this neighborhood, like, this is a steal of a deal, and this is why you should be focusing on purchasing this home instead of some of the other options that are in this neighborhood. So
also, I thought how you introed it with this storytelling strategy, talking about how someone basically came in and insulted the price. That's a great hook. Plus, you had the text-based hook up top, and you showed the comparables.
Yeah.
And you handled it in a classy way as opposed to just talking crap about that person. So I thought that was a great video and seemed to have crushed. So good work, Marie.
Preach.
I think pinning the angry comments too helps, right? Because it's like, okay, why are people so infuriated by this post or by her talking about a listing or a situation? That would make me want to now watch the entire video to then join in on the conversation or the fun or maybe defend you, whatever it may be. I think Lizzie Joe talks about it all the time.
Okay, Haley, you posted something on Coffee and Contrast.
Yeah, get this guy out of here. You're done. You're done. Dude, you're out.
I got nothing today.
All right, ready?
Sorry, guys. Haley, you posted. Yeah, try this.
Haley, you recently had something that performed incredibly on Instagram. Can you share what that post was and what you've been doing that's working?
Yeah, I'll let the other Haley play it.
Truth is, nobody cares that your listing just sold. Think about it. Does anybody really care that some random listing just sold? But here's the thing. We're still going to share that you sold that listing. We're just not going to do it the old traditional way with the boring graphics. So here are 3 examples of things that you can do instead. Number 1, share the story. Number 2, write about it in your email newsletter. Number 3, share the numbers.
Okay, so speaking of repurposing, I have posted that exact word for word post months ago, and I don't think anyone noticed. So
I did.
that's a win there, and both times it performed very well. I think why that performed well, maybe is because it had a pretty good hook in the beginning. It just said like the truth is nobody cares that your listing just sold, so right off the bat, I'm like giving an opinion and hot take kind of. And then when I was editing the video, I tried to keep it super engaging. So just like instead of just like sharing screenshots, I had like a video in the background and then screenshots on top of it so that there's kind of something like moving and it's not just like a slideshow of screenshots. And then I think I've also noticed that when I have those high quality videos, they seem to be performing a lot better when I'm having like an actual videographer. And then I don't know if this helped it or not, but the video kind of like cuts off at the end. Honestly, when I was recording it, I just like couldn't think of a call to action at the time. So I was like, let's just cut it off. So I think those might be why it performed well.
Brilliant strategy for the ending.
I mean,
Thank
so
you.
copy your word for word, just copy and paste from a couple months ago. Cut your video short.
Don't
There were
finish
some
it.
good tips in there.
Yeah.
Also.
A refresher is what we call that. We call that the half court press. It works nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're Eric, then you could just peg leg your way all the way through.
I think a lot of times agents think that they have to reinvent the wheel and create a completely new creative post. And this is something Marie and I were talking about recently, is that a lot of times it's just the same messaging over and over and over again. This is the biggest purchase of people's life. So you just have to keep reinforcing your same messaging.
Important to note that your followers do not see every post, that people unfollow, that there's new buyers coming into the market, there's new sellers coming into the market. So I think that's a really good point about the repeated messaging. There's a reason why I've recycled the same 30 captions on the broke agent, because there's people coming in and out of the industry. Nobody is focused on your content as much as you are. So if you have something that performed really well 4 months ago, throw it up again as long as it's relevant. Obviously, don't do a post about here are the top 5 things you should do in Nashville during Christmas, and it's the middle of Labor Day. That would be a fool's post.
Yeah.
But Mary Lee from Tennessee would never do that.
Christmas
Danny
Never too
Deals.
early to plan.
Yeah.
Exactly. Danny Deals, what's working for you right now?
We know that repurposing content works. The jet ski video that I did a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, that was from back in the day. Just recreated it, new listing. So repurposing always works. Right now, I have not been posting on my main feed. I've been utilizing stories more. I'm finding myself not even really watching or like scrolling down the feed anymore. Just like clicking on like people's stories. I don't know why. Maybe I'm a Gen Alpha. So I've just been using my stories. And I just got back from Tom Ferry and I was speaking at the conference. And so I've just been kind of like you wouldn't believe it unless I had a camera on my head, you know, behind the scenes, the chaos, the fun, the chaos, right? Really, it's just truly chaos, but it's just funny. And it really kind of like struck me when I was in Dallas and people were coming up to me and I thought they would maybe say something about the walkthrough, which they did, or, you know, any of the content that I've ever made. And they were talking about like my bits that I do on my stories. I was like, it's kind of weird. So the second day of the conference, I did it just like how I felt. And I was having an absolute panic attack pacing around the entire, you know, whatever it is, Dallas Convention Center for 4 hours. I was posting it and everybody was coming up to me saying like how funny it was. And it was just true. Right? I was just posting what was going on. I do tend to exaggerate a little bit, right? To like make everybody laugh, you know, and get a little bit of engagement, you know, never hurt anybody. And I may or may not have just wrecked my car yesterday for the sake of content. I mean, I'm not even kidding. I will go to the depths of hell and back for engagement. And I know that it's going to work. For example, about a year long on this show, I would, you know, gash my face open, you know, just so Eric had a punchline, just so we would get some more engagement. No, I'm teasing. But,
Walking into those doors and things like that. Yeah.
All right, for the people listening
What?
on Spotify, just we are smiling and laughing. Dan was not actually physically gashing his face open for for engagement.
Rosacea.
Right, of course.
But look, I exaggerated and it made you laugh, right? So, you know, I definitely did blow my tire to smithereens yesterday, and I did them. It actually was very scary. But then once I realized that, hey, the police are here and I'm okay, car's gone, so let's make something good out of this. And it worked. And I probably never had as many DMs as I have right now people are left and right calling me, texting me, past clients. And, all I did was just take my tire. There was that 0 PSI and ran it to the ground, literally.
It's like
So
the real life Hanover. Like, I feel like I'm watching the Hanover replay in my stories whenever Dan's stuff's coming up. So,
but you feel like you know me, right?
yeah.
Because I'm the same way in person. I'm the same way when you meet me. And if you're a client, right? Because I always teeter-totter on like professionalism. It's like, you know what? I actually took a tow truck. I gave the guy $50 and I took a tow truck and went on 2 listing appointments and I got one of the 2. The second one won't be ready until the next spring. So who does that? Some would say that that's extreme dedication, commitment, all the above. Not me. It's a normal Wednesday
Well,
over
I
here.
think there's similarities in like what the reel that Marie did that did really well, and then your stories is that both of you guys are just sharing stories of what's actually happening in your daily lives, and that's actually just what people want to see is like real stuff that's happening, not just
I would love if that was like if that was
Way
just
to put a bow on that one, Haley. Way to
thank
connect.
God. Thank God.
Dan ran his tire into the ground, but at
I
least
did.
he's getting Instagram story
I
engagement.
did. I
That
documented
tire is
the
a
whole
perfect
thing.
metaphor for your life, Dan, where you ignore some sort of problem until it literally explodes
Dang.
in your face.
You're right, but you know what's even worse about this though, and you're 100% spot on with that, is I actually did the right thing. So it's a brand new tire. I pulled over because I must have hit a nail, and I called like the emergency service. I'm like, hey, I'm in a safe place. Let's not be stupid here. I've done this in the past. Can you please send a tow truck? And they're like, no, sir, you have run flats. You can drive. I'm like, you sure? They're like, yeah, sir, you're good for 20 miles. I'm like, okay. I peel off, and I have the video proof of all of it. Thank God I was wearing the GoPro on my head. I peel off and just explode my tire. It just like smithereens. So for once in my life, I actually didn't do that.
Tried following the rules.
Did the right
Yeah.
thing. There we go. All right. Well, I'll let you guys know. I don't really have much that's working on the broke agent account, just the standard stuff. But this is what's working for agents on Instagram. Simple, hyper local headline posts for your market. Look at this guy, Kyle Talbot, aka moving to Kansas City. Look at this. How simple is this? Just a little headline. Developers push for Royal Stadium at Washington Square. I can't even talk. I am so cooked today. This is ridiculous. Developers push for Royal Stadium at Washington Square Park. All he did was take a screenshot of something and put a news headline and then details in the caption. Haley, let's look at another one of these. A ton of content like this on his Instagram that's just hyper local headlines. This probably takes 10 minutes at most to create. Keanu Reeves makes secret stop at Rainy Books to sign latest book. I assume Rainy Books is a place in Kansas City. So anything that's happening is marketed. A celebrity comes into town. Travis Kelce starts a new podcast. Whatever it is about Kansas City, he's just turning it into a simple headline post and isn't necessarily making a video out of it. And his engagement is absolutely ridiculous. So I think these fun community posts are a huge opportunity for agents. And it's probably more fun content to create than your traditional market updates or your listing videos because it doesn't require that much thought. It's just, hey, here's what's happening in Los Angeles right now. Oh, the Olympics are coming in 2028. Here's where the spots are going to be. That's probably going to get more shares than your average post. So shout out Kyle Talbot.
I mean, he's getting 7,200 likes on a probably 30-second Canva post, and I'm sitting over here crashing my $180,000 Mercedes here to get a couple of story DMs. What in the world?
Dan,
I know.
when you
Great job,
rethink
Kyle.
your content strategy, like it could be a lot simpler and less expensive.
Yeah,
be.
seriously.
It wouldn't be that fun though, Marie. It wouldn't be that fun.
You're right.
He is definitely standing out from the crowd, Dan. And you know what else? If you are looking to stand out from the crowd, Reminder Media is a resource you got to check out. You get your own branded print and digital magazines. Reminder Media delivers these resources to your contacts on autopilot, keeping you top of mind with your database. All you got to do is focus on your follow-up calls and watch referrals and repeat business come in. Check a link in the description for Reminder Media, who was just on the last episode of the walkthrough, by the way, with Luke Acree. All right, final topic here. This is a very insane Instagram reel I saw. This was posted a couple weeks ago. It just popped up in my feed again. And it is one of the most insane, controversial reels that I've seen a real estate agent post, maybe ever.
You guys, if you're looking for a large home in the heart of Vieira, this 5-bedroom, 4.5 bath property is practically calling your name. It's also in a gated and guarded community, so it's super safe.
The controversy is that a truck almost ran over a baby. I don't know if you noticed that.
Sedan.
Well-
It wasn't an 18-wheeler. It was a Tesla.
Okay, whatever. There's people in the comments saying, taken too far for views. Erica Wolf said, oh my God, this is the worst thing I've ever seen.
anytime there's a baby or a puppy in the video, there's going to be people that are upset.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think I would have
Facts.
been more upset if it was a puppy or if it was a dog. Like, I think the fact that it was a baby kind of made me a little bit less upset, maybe. But I'd be like, you abuse animals, Shane? You kidding me? So I could maybe see that.
Would this be considered rage bait?
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh.
Rage bait, but I thought in an effective way because he was actually talking about his listing. You
Mhm.
are going to watch the entire video all the way through because you're seeing, is this car actually going to hit this baby? This is absolutely ridiculous. But
I
he
saw that.
responds. Yeah, he responds to comments really well. What? And the episode.
I don't know what happened in my brain right there. I was like, I saw that.
Gosh. The
All right, guys.
chemistry's really flowing this episode, guys.
Look,
One time
everyone.
my mic is finally on.
All right.
Look, everyone, if you enjoyed this episode, throw us a like. There were some good tips in here. How to get the most out of your post. Go follow at Move Me to Tennessee, Marie Lee from Tennessee. She has some of the best content on Instagram, the best profile maybe in Instagram history.
Gosh, thank you. Wow.
And then follow Coffee and Contracts for amazing tips. Get on her email list. She might post that video again tomorrow. Who knows? She might throw it up.
Hey.
Everybody, make sure you go get your tickets to Bam Mania. It's coming up. We're just what, a month away here. It's coming up October, I believe, 18th, 24th. One of the two. We'll see
I'll
you
be
in Vegas.
too.
We're gonna be at the craps table. We're gonna be at the blackjack table. But more importantly, we're gonna be watching Brad McCollum, Eric, and Luca, actually agents, and Byron, and all these amazing individuals talk about how they are getting their content to work, also their business. And so we'll see you in Vegas. We're going to be at the blackjack table. Get your tickets. Shout out to everyone in Eric's family. Eric will play your Xbox. Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Haley.